Welcome to The View from Crotched Mountain, a podcast featuring topics of interest to people with disabilities and their families. I'm Ken Sheldon, and I'm talking to Linda Cox, whose son Brett is a student at Crotched Mountain School, a residential and day school for students with disabilities, including autism spectrum disorder, emotional and behavioral challenges, and multiple disabilities. Linda, your son Brett has autism. Tell me a little bit about him.
Well, Brett just turned 12 in August, and he's been here for 9 months. He is a very active little boy. He's got a great personality with a hooliganism side to him, like many boys have. He loves the outdoors, and with his autism, his severe autism, which means for Brett, he's nonverbal. He has multiple allergies to food as well as environmental. So we've been working with these issues since he's been 15 months old and diagnosed with these issues. He had to be homeschooled for 6 years. Then we found another school for him that was a private school that accepted him with a full-time nurse, but under a lot of duress. It was very difficult for them. They were not capable of fulfilling all of the ways that Brett could really get out and enjoy thriving. It was very restricted as well, even though he got out of the house. So having done our homework, we came upon Crotched Mountain.
Tell me a little bit more about that. With these complexities that Brett has, what were the factors that you had to consider in looking for and selecting a school for him?
Well, it's interesting. I came from just knowing Brett. So seeking out what was most appropriate for Brett was the mission. And having seen how restricted his life was and was going was very debilitating. So outdoors was a huge component for us. How much would he be able to tap into the outdoors? One of my favorite writers, Henry David Thoreau, says it would be no small advantage if every school were thus located at the top of a mountain. Some will remember, no doubt, not only that they went to the school, but that they went to the mountain. I wasn't actually looking for a mountaintop experience, but I have found that. We needed a campus for Brett. We needed it to be encompassing so that the medical piece that is part of who Brett is was taken care of. Not just in a Band-Aid fashion, but really globally. That there would be good training, there would be good communication, there would be accessibility to all the entities that exist here, which you really can't find in New England easily. We are very lucky to have a Crotched Mountain that fills who Brett really is. Yes. Brett has done snowshoeing. He has been out snowshoeing. This year he will ski. But he's the swimming that's available indoor. Every day he swims. We had to get him a wetsuit because he was one of the strippers in the pool.
Strippers?
Oh yeah, he'd take off his suit and he'd really want to have a good time.
I thought that was a technical term, scuba diving or something.
No, he loves the water. Loves the water. So getting him in and allowing him the therapy that exists in water is vital to who he is. And having the waterfront has been just again another incredible blessing. He's one of the ones that they know his name.
In addition to the pool, the indoor pool.
We have not only a therapy pool, which works for many kids. Brett just loves to jump, so the recreational pool is his cup of tea. But the waterfront has been a big asset this year. It's really like sending a child to camp. And, how many of us can find the right fit for a child like Brett?
Right. Let's talk a little bit about the experience of working with Crotched Mountain to make sure it could meet Brett's needs.
Okay, this has been a journey unto itself. It took us 8 months of talking, communicating, learning, getting to know the needs. And that was all-encompassing with many of the individuals that would be associated with Brett's care up here. The people at the table included everyone from the educational component, and there were times when the principal from the school would sit in, the psychologist would be there, the case manager was there. We had speech people involved, OTs, PTs. We had the behaviorist, Dennis Bradley, who was a good liaison because we came from a very ABA environment, Ken, to now a gentle teaching methodology.
ABA meaning? Applied Behavior Analysis.
Very strong background in that since Brett was 21 months old. So he was 11. That is what we knew. That is what drove us educationally for Brett. But helping us understand the gentle teaching methodology and how they also incorporated ABA into that. And that has been a wonderful road, allowing us to learn another methodology, but also respecting where we came from. Medically, there were nurses at the table. The pediatricians were on the phone with us. We've had case managers at our house. We've had people come to the previous school from Crotched Mountain to see where he was at. It just was a well-oiled machine that was really communicating. So by the time it worked its way to a transitional point, everybody felt as comfortable as they could. Then we needed to take the leap. And what I've learned is you can't help but feel you're in chaos as you're transitioning. Any of us know transitions in many walks of life. And there is that natural chaos that happens. But where's the calm? We look for the calm. And the communal spirit here, the fact that people really have a heart to help these kids is at the core of where that calm can be found.
So it sounds as if the folks here and the way they do their work helped you through this pretty emotional transition period.
Yes, because I don't want it to sound idealistic, like this was bliss. This was not. This was very difficult. I mean, I want people to understand the trauma that it took. We were all in the driveway crying, leaving him. But we were embraced every time.
How's it going now? You said Brett was in another special education school, but this is the first time he's lived at school and away from home. How's that been for you?
I could speak about so many things. I think what sifts to me at this moment is, he is at the Redwood Manor here, and Patty Green has been an essential element. She is a mother herself. Nora, I could name all the names, Chris and George and Joe. And even today, when I called to check on him because he's had a bad cold, Anna is new today with him. But I met Anna at the school, and she has allergies, and she gets it. And she wanted to make sure today that I knew she was going to take him out for a walk, and they were going to have a good day together. And for a mom to hear that, it's just, he's doing the best he can making this transition. The staff is doing a great job getting to know him. Their intuition with these kids is huge. I'm not just talking about caretaking, but them really getting to know a child is what I have seen, and it's a beautiful thing. I recognize it every time I walk in the house. He's been well. Sidebar to a cold. He did have to have an EpiPen once, which is the first time in his life. He had to be injected with an EpiPen, and an aide, Ashley, did a great job taking care of him in that situation. And
he'd been exposed to an insect or an allergen or something?
Yes. He's quite the Dickens, and he got a hold of a chocolate chip cookie that he just couldn't handle the smell of the chocolate. So
who can blame him?
Who can blame him? I'm right with him. But, they knew the protocol. They took care of business, and he was fine. And, it helped us all. He's going to be fine. He's got a good heart, and that is what should be done.
You mentioned gentle teaching, which is one of the hallmarks of Crotched Mountain's approach to working with students like Brett. Tell me what this meant to you and what it involves for
Sure.
Brett.
Yes, quite different methodology than applied behavior analysis. Brett really needed ABA at a point in his life. We started with 30 hours a week from the time he was 22 months old until he was 11, with 30 hours of ABA. And it had brought Brett to a level that I don't think we would have seen with another method, because he had no receptive language, zero understanding of language. He regressed so aggressively, Ken, into autism. So ABA had its place. But as Brett became this boy with this profound energy, looking to be unlocked, as any naturally developed child would, it became a little more difficult, mostly because of his medical piece again. So we needed to find another methodology that also allowed him to expand physically, which then socially. So the gentle teaching method is so much more holistic. Who are you, Brett? What's inside of you? What do we need to learn that you're going to tell us? Instead of, we need to teach you this. And that is what I would recognize as gentle teaching. How do we really get to know a human being and respect who they are, and then allow them to take our hand, because we're learning about them too, not just keeping them safe. And it has allowed Brett to be Brett. I mean, he's in that house and he will open the door, which will get that fire alarm going, and run into his bed and laugh like the dickens. And you know what? They respect that. They know him. They watch him. They don't condone it, but they don't. It's a different mentality. It allows him to be who he is, and they have great methods to curtail that, but not stifle the human being. And he did his first piece of artwork. He wasn't allowed in the art room in the school that he was in. They were, I'm not finger pointing, but they were afraid of him with what he might ingest. Well, the list that Bill goes through and checks for items, and this wonderful piece of art I'm going to have framed and put in his bedroom at home. So he is involved in home still, Ken. You know, that's
tell me a
piece.
little bit about his schedule and how that goes.
Yeah, he, there's been different chapters. When he first came here, we were all amazed that he made the leap as gracefully as he did. We really set up his bedroom here to mimic what was going on at home. And what a nice thing that Crotched Mountain allows all of that. So it's very homey. But he would come home, and he was very anxious when he first came home. I think he was wondering, where else are you taking me? I don't know if he knew his home still existed. So that was very delicate and very difficult to watch him come home again and be so anxious. But then he knew home existed again. And there was months of going back and forth. Every other week he would come home for a weekend. What we learned is 2 days is enough, because on the third day he's looking for that structure, that very tight needed infrastructure and structure in his life. And at home we don't have the care that we need to provide him with that. And so he would get restless, and the behaviors would escalate. So it became apparent to us that 2 days is good, and then coming back is good. That went on for a few months, and then the homesickness hit. And he would look at our pictures and he would cry. So then we got on it with communicating to him even more with more schedules that tell him when mom's coming to visit, when he's going home, when he understood the rhythm. He just needed to know exactly when. That's just how Brett is. We can go on weekly schedules now. It used to be daily. Now we can do weekly. And you can tell that his anxiety is in a better place. So this has been, again, still transitioning even after 9 months. it's good to have him home. We see socially how much is happening because of the socialization here. It's a good barometer to get him home and have family gatherings and see how much more he interacts.
Is he able to interact with his peers here at Crotched Mountain?
He is, in Brett's way. He is a gross motor kid. You know, he'll go out and snowshoe with kids. He'll go out and be on the trails with them. He'll love going to waterfront with the kids and enjoy the pool, bowling. It's building. It's not easy. This child has severe autism, so this is emerging, and it's really beautiful.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to tell parents who are looking for a special education school?
I guess I would want to tell people when they have that fear factor that's been built up from, you can't do this with that child, you can't do that, oh, he can't have this, he's not going to go here, we can't. I've heard I can't so many times in life, and it really broke me for a while. And this has given me again that hope, because all of us have issues, some a lot more than others. And Brett comes with his own, bundle of issues. But the can-do attitude here came from the top, because I know the players at the table had their concerns, as they should. But it does take coming from the top, saying, let's work on this. Mm-hmm. And it took a lot of accommodations, but this child is thriving.
It's wonderful. Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you. If it helps one family, Ken, that's what this is about. If it helps a family to feel what I'm feeling now instead of what I was, then this is why we do this.
Absolutely. The best to you and to Brett.
Thank you very much. Glad to be on board.
Crotched Mountain is a charitable organization whose mission is to serve individuals with disabilities and their families, embracing personal choice and development, and building communities of mutual support. For more information, please visit www.crotchedmountain.org. That's CROTCHED mountain.org. Please join us again for The View from Crotched Mountain.